So I guess the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, has nothing better to do than to look at all the names of all the ships in the Navy and decide which ones are too woke for him and focus all of his energy and attention on renaming them. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the fact that today, the Secretary of Defense, in an increasingly dangerous world, put out a statement and said that he was looking at changing the names of a bunch of naval ships to include ships named after Lieutenant J.G. Harvey Milk, LGBTQ civil rights icon, and a sailor who served in the Korean War honorably, and folks like Cesar Chavez, a civil rights icon who stood up for immigrants' rights and also served in the U.S. military honorably. This is what our Secretary of Defense is doing. When we have global conflict, when we have increasing threats to the United States, when we have a recruiting crisis where we can't even find eligible Americans to serve in uniform who are fit and ready and willing to serve, the Secretary of Defense has prioritized making sure that we don't have ships named after people who honorably served but don't fit his vision of what the United States military should look like, don't fit his 1980s action hero vision of what they should look like. What are we even doing here? You know, it's so obvious. They want to divide Americans based on identity, and so that we are not willing or able to look at what they're actually doing to the things that affect all of us, regardless of who we are, what we look like, who we love. For instance, today on the Hill, House Republicans passed Trump's big, beautiful bill, which seeks to slash Medicaid, will slash Medicaid, $700 million from Medicaid. By the way, millions of veterans and their families depend on Medicaid. Will take money out of the food stamp program. And by the way, a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of military families actually rely on food stamps because their military paychecks don't go far enough in the places they're ordered to live. And so they have to rely on those benefits to put food on their table for their children, for the children of families who are actively serving in the U.S. military. And it would also cut a lot of other things that are really important to a lot of us. But the Secretary of Defense is over here talking about a meritocracy and a warrior ethos, and then he's focusing all of his time and energy on renaming ships, which, by the way, is a huge waste of money, let alone a slap in the face to that service member and all of the service members who have worn the uniform, who might look different than Pete Hegseth. And he's doing it because he knows it will stoke outrage. And it should. It's outrageous. But also it's a distraction from what they're really trying to do, which is privatize the government so that they can make a lot of money and their cronies can make a lot of money too on the expense and on the backs of American taxpayers and hardworking families. So pay attention. It's bad.